Good afternoon, everybody. I hope everybody's doing great out there. So some folks have been asking me, they're like, we haven't really heard much from you, haven't posted any new videos in like, I think a couple months on here. And yeah, so the situation is I've got to sit down and edit a whole bunch more farming content and then upload those videos. But I just haven't gotten around to it so far. I will say I'm on Telegram a lot more than I'm on YouTube. Obviously, we have a real nice community there. Lots of the regular commenters and regular viewers from this channel are on there. One of our guys pulled up statistics on the Telegram group. He said there's been like 190,000 posts on there, just in like, I don't think it's even been officially a year yet since we formed that. So yeah, this is, again, just another invitation for anybody who wants to join in on the shenanigans there. Real nice community of farmers, tradesmen, homesteaders, similar folks on there. It's pretty much unmoderated, at least compared to a lot of sites on the internet. A few basic rules, but certainly a lot better than, mainstream social media in that regard. So anyway, I just want to do something a little bit different. This might be a little bit more of, I guess, like a podcast or something, you might say. I just want to show you some of the things I've been working on that I didn't really properly film because this channel wasn't really set up, when we did these things. I think it had like one video on it, and I wasn't really in a place in life to be filming stuff. So, okay, regular viewers will remember back around 2015, 2016, I built this red pickup bed trailer. I built this out of a Chevy half-ton. It was like an 83 or an 86 or whatever. I bought it for parts. I had a frame and a kind of beat up but solid truck bed. So I was like, yeah, we'll just use the leftovers here. We'll make it into a trailer. And so this is what I put together. It wasn't perfect. The main issue with actually using it was that the tailgate setup kind of sucked. The old school farmer just drop-in boards thing works okay, but it's jankety. The issue with that is inevitably you have loose objects in there and then they push back against those wooden boards and they kind of get stuck. It's just an operation to get those things open with a load in there. Okay, so I didn't really like that. And additionally, the more pressing issue was that rear axle. Okay, not long after I built this thing, it developed an oil leak, and my good friend Mechanic Super Steve, he took a look at it. He helped me change out the oil seals in the rear end so it wouldn't leak anymore. And while we're doing that, he's looking around at the bearings. He's like, man, these things are totally slopped out. Okay, if you just pull this with your tractor, like doing farm stuff with it, it'll probably be okay, at least for a while. But yeah, I can tell you these bearings are not long for this world. You're either going to have to take this whole rear end apart and like rebuild it, or you're going to have to get like a proper trailer axle or something in here and just drop it in. So that's what I ended up doing. Okay, I had this thing sitting around in various states of completion. And eventually it occurred to me, I was like, I either need to get this done and turn it into something decent and something useful, or I just need to get rid of it and be done with it. Because believe it or not, this is going to sound crazy coming from me, but even I got tired of having like 29 million half-finished projects laying around. Okay, so that's essentially what I did. I got a essentially build your own 8-lug trailer axle kit. And I used an old roller out of a round baler because it's like super thick wall, I think 3-inch pipe, 3.5 inch, something like that pipe. And I made an 8-lug trailer axle for this thing. And so that, for the time being, solved the axle situation. Going from there, I wanted this thing to be as usable as possible, and I decided it'd be real nice for like bin trailer type of purposes, like you just throw odds and ends and loose odds and ends and that sort of stuff in there. So I wanted it to have proper sides, and the cool thing about this build is I built it without buying one single piece of steel. Okay, everything you guys are seeing now, other than obviously, the bare trailer itself, all the sides and the tailgate and everything, I built that exclusively from stuff that I had laying around. Most of it was left over from, various projects over the years. And yeah, so that's what I did. I put together proper sides for it with an angle iron frame. You'll notice the wooden boards run vertically instead of horizontally, which is a little bit different. But A, I think it's stronger since the length of the boards is shorter. And B, these were odd size 2x6s. I think they're 2x6s. They were an odd length, and the best way I could make use of that odd length was to cut it into shorter pieces and put them vertically. So that's what I did. I wanted to make this thing as non-unaerodynamic as possible, so I gave it a metal mesh front, which is good because I didn't actually have enough metal mesh to do like all the sides that way. But I did have enough for the front and back, so that'll hopefully make it, less bad towing highway-wise. And I'll tell you guys, I finished this build almost 2 years ago exactly. I've been using it off and on in the meantime. And so now I can kind of speak with a little bit of experience about how some of the aspects of it turned out. Okay, the tailgate situation, I decided that what I was going to do is put together a swing out set of doors on the back of this, and they swing out not perfectly, perpendicular to the trailer, but really close. They swing out close enough. It's not a big job at all to get in there with a forklift or like the front end of a tractor or whatever, front end loader, and set a pallet or set, some object down in there, which is good. Also, kind of a pet peeve of mine is it's kind of frustrating when you go to secure something in a trailer and there's not tie down points. So I added a whole bunch of D-rings and stuff on the inside of this. And so we got that. I put a toolbox on the front end of this thing. It's just sitting on an angle iron frame that I fabric cobbled together, so I got that going. And lighting wise, I decided I wanted it to have some decent taillights, so I put some, I think they're 4-inch round LED things. They're really bright. They're just, off-brand mystery meat cheapies, but yeah, they're blindingly bright, and this thing has functional lights now. So actually using this thing, it's worked out extremely well. For the intended purpose, which is just, homesteading related odds and ends, I'll tell you guys it's worked great. But it's not perfect, okay? I designed this thing to hold exactly 1 cord of firewood heaped, okay? So as a lot of you guys know, a cord of firewood, that measurement, whatever size that is, I think it's like 4 by 8 by 4 or something. I don't know off the top of my head. But if that wood isn't stacked tightly, it takes up at least 1/3 more space. So this is 1/3 more volume in that trailer loaded flat than a conventional cord of firewood. So if you just throw a cord of wood in there, obviously it takes up more space because it's just in a heap, but a cord heaped in this thing will fit quite nicely. That's what I designed it for. I haven't used it that much moving firewood, especially in like shorter sections. But I have used it for that. It does work out really well. Okay, now there were some issues with it. The main one was that I got it stuck and somehow we managed to bend the axle, which is quite a feat because, like I said, this is not like your flimsy 5-lug trailer axle. This is 3-inch tube or 3.5-inch or whatever. And we somehow managed to bend it, retrieving the trailer from as you see it here. So yeah, that was kind of an issue. And what I did with that is I found a rear differential from like an F350, like a 1980s or early 90s one. And that is built substantially heavier than a conventional trailer axle. So I put that under there, and while I was at it, I gave it a couple helper springs from that truck as well. So yeah, now this should be relatively unbreakable in terms of axle related stuff. And I've gotten a lot of use out of this thing. The only issue, I guess 2 slight issues. The first one is it is extremely non-aerodynamic. This thing will cause a drop in mileage akin to a flatbed trailer, probably twice its size. It's actually quite remarkable, but yeah, not aerodynamic whatsoever. Not a big deal on the back roads, but I have taken this on the highway on some longer trips, and yeah, it's hilariously bad mileage whenever that happens. The other issue is that it's a lot heavier than it looks. This thing, if memory serves, it actually weighs about 2,100 pounds. Which is a lot more than I was expecting. That's more than a conventional 16-foot, flatbed trailer, albeit a light-duty, lightly built one, but still. I have no idea how it ended up weighing that much, but but whatever the case, it is quite solid. I'm happy with that. The other downside is when it's heaped with firewood, and this should be kind of obvious, it is extremely, not so much top heavy, but tippy. So one has to be very careful that they do not roll it if on uncertain terrain. Okay, but yeah, essentially, overall, I'm really happy with this thing. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I built it without really spending much money. I actually spent very little. You guys saw the original trailer and its original configuration was pretty much just random parts that probably would have gotten sent to the scrapyard if I hadn't done anything with them. Okay, so I built the original for almost nothing, and then turning it into the nicer green configuration, like I said, it was pretty much all stuff that I had laying around. So yeah, very happy with it. I've gotten a lot of use out of this thing. It pulls nice going down the road. It works great. I'm very happy with it. There's a lot you can do, especially in a homesteading type of context with a trailer like this with sides on it. It's not the only trailer I own, and I wouldn't want it to be, because if you need a flatbed, it's not the tool for the job. The other thing is you really can't fit longer sections of anything in this. You can't really, like, you know, with a conventional tailgate setup, you can just lay down the tailgate and move like 14 plus foot sections of material with an 8-foot bed like this. But there's not really a way to secure the doors in a non-jankety way, so that's not really feasible here. This is only good for odd-sized objects and short lengths of stuff, which is fine because that's what I built it for. But regardless, yeah, pretty happy with this thing, and I just wanted to share the story with you guys and show you how it turned out. I hope this video finds you well, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe for more. You might as well check us out on Telegram if you're just, you know, hanging out watching random stuff on YouTube late at night or whatever. But until next time,